is the story, true story. In the year 2000, there was a man who lived in New York City who was fabulously wealthy. Okay? He was a businessman. And he wasn't just an excellent businessman, he was like the top. He had everything he touched turned to gold, so to speak. He had businesses and he had companies that he owned, and whatever he invested, he would put in, let's say, $500,000 to invest. He woke up the next morning and it was worth 10 million. Like everything he did was incredible. Okay? It's a true story. This man decided to invest in Israel, the state of Israel. Around the year 2000, the economy of Israel was starting to get very, very good. And this guy decided, I want to be in on this opportunity. So he decided he's flying to Israel, and he's going to set up all these companies, all these businesses, and he's going to make a lot of money. The man happened to be Jewish. I'm not really sure if he was observant or not observant. That's not important for the story. But he decided he had some feelings for the land of Israel. He wants to put in his money. So he flies to Israel. He has a sheet of paper that lists all of his meetings, all of his appointments with government officials, with bank officials, with all kinds of people who can help him make a lot of money. He's a very busy and nervous type of person. One morning he was walking down a Jerusalem street in Yerushalayim. Again, he was there to set up a lot of deals, business deals. Suddenly, his stomach speaks to him because he realizes he hasn't eaten in like a day or two because he's always been running around making all these business deals. So he sees at the corner of his eye a pizza shop. It happened to be a pizza shop that is called Sbarro's, which is in North America. In America, it is a non-kosher, like the best pizza, Sbarro's, and they have one in Israel, in Jerusalem, that's kosher, right in the center of town, on the corner of Yaffo and King George Street. It's a very large restaurant. He sees that restaurant. He wants to run in for a minute, grab a pizza, fill his stomach, and move on to the next meeting. And I want to tell you what happened inside that pizza store when he went inside. When he went inside, the first thing that he saw was a lot of people. It was a very popular restaurant because it was such good pizza. Long line, very long. He's not the type of person who waits in lines. Usually, if he sees a line, everybody splits for him. He goes straight to the front, but they don't know him yet. So he's standing in the back. He has his briefcase, of course, and his beepers are going, and pagers are going, and his Blackberries are going, and he's just nervous. He's not standing still. He's moving around, right? The person in front of him is a typical Israeli older gentleman. He turns around, and he sees something. He's never seen stuff like that, right? So, what's going on? What's your problem? What are you so nervous about? Take it easy, chill. What's going on? So the guy, I'm just so busy. I have 6 meetings, and then before the end of the day, I have a helicopter waiting to take me down to some other place, and I have to fly back to New York. I have things waiting for me there. I don't have time to wait in these lines like this. I'm just very uptight. So the guy in front, the Israeli in front, in a very nice, typical way, said, "You know what? I have all day. I'm not in a big rush like you. Why don't you go ahead of me? I see you're in a big rush. Please, go ahead. Thank you so much. You just saved me a few $1,000s. Every minute is worth money." So he goes in front, and the guy steps back, and he goes behind the businessman. The line gets shorter and shorter until the businessman gets to the front of the line. He quickly orders his pizza. He throws down the money, not waiting for the change. Grabs the pizza, rushes out of the store. When he gets a few steps out of the store, he hears the most loud explosion because the pizza shop blew up. He just got out in time. This was the famous and tragic Sbarro's bombing of the year 2000 in Jerusalem. It was one of the worst suicide bombings that we've ever had. He was right there in that pizza shop, and his life was spared because the man in front of him gave him his spot. So the man in front of him got to the pizza, so the man in front of him was now behind him, so the businessman was able to get out a few moments just in time, and the nice Israeli guy was inside the store. So I can't really describe the scene. Thank God I've never seen the scene. But we can use our imaginations. It must be absolutely terrible. Screaming, sirens, and other, it's a bad scene, okay? The businessman is shocked. He forgets everything. He's not thinking anymore about all the money he could be making. He couldn't care less about the ringing phones and the beepers and pagers. He's just standing there with his mouth open until he gets the courage to run inside the burning pizza shop to try to help that man, or to try to find him, to see if he's alive. He actually runs back into this pizza shop, which is now burning, okay? And there's bodies all over. It's bad stuff, okay? It's not good. And he looks for the man who's responsible for his being alive. And he trips over a few bodies, and he's frantic, and it's hard to believe that these things happen. And after searching, he can't find him. He's not to be found in the pizza shop. So he has two possibilities. Either he's dead, and he's gone, they took him away, or maybe one of the ambulances came and took him away. So he said to himself, I'm going to have to find this guy. I've just got to find him. So he runs outside. He catches a taxi. He flags down a taxi, jumps in, said, bring me as fast as you can to the nearest hospital. So the taxi driver drives fast. He says, no, faster, faster. You got to get there fast. If the guy dies, I'll never be able to say a word to him. So he goes, the windy, twisty streets through Jerusalem. He's going fast. He's driving. He gets to the nearest hospital. Maybe it was Shaarei Tzedek, I'm not sure. He jumps out. He runs into the hospital. And when he gets inside, there's doctors, nurses rushing, screaming. There's stretchers all over because this was the emergency situation of this terrible bomb. I forgot how many people. Many people died in this bomb. So he doesn't wait. He runs up and down the corridors, looking at all the stretchers and all the beds that are lying all over the place. He looks at everybody, and he can't find the guy. So he's not in this hospital. He runs back to the taxi. He says, are there any other hospitals? And he says, yes, there's more. Okay, let's go. Move it, quick. And then he drives to the next hospital. He runs out of the taxi, and he runs into the second hospital. The same thing happens. He goes from room to room, from patient to patient. He cannot find the guy. Now, this man is not one to give up easily. So he runs back to the taxi driver, and he pleads with him. Is there any more hospitals that maybe patients could have been brought to after the bombing? And he said, there's one more hospital. So he says, you need to take me there immediately. So the taxi driver drives to the third hospital, the final hospital. The businessman runs out. Same thing happens. He looks at every floor, every room, every patient that he can. He cannot find the man, the nice Israeli gentleman who saved his life. He's very dejected. It only means probably that the man was killed on the spot. So he's walking out, shuffling. For the first time in his life, he's walking slowly because he's just, what a day, right? So he's walking out of the hospital, and out of the corner of his eye, he sees a door with a glass, with the upper half of the door is glass. And he looks inside the door, and he sees the man laying in the bed, okay? Attached to all kinds of machines. He doesn't wait, doesn't ask questions, he walks into the room, okay? There's no doctors around, there's no nurses around, everyone's busy with severe situations. He walks into the room, the man is not conscious, and what do you say? What words? How can you express your feelings? The man who gave his spot in line to do you just a simple favor ended up saving your life. And he thinks to himself, I should be in that bed. I should be wavering between life and death. And he should be the good one, because that was really my spot. And he gave it to me, and he's there. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to say. So he sits down, he opens up, or he maybe knows by heart. Actually, I don't know about this. This, I'll add a little bit. He starts to say Tehillim. That's what Jews do. They start to say Tehillim. Or maybe if you didn't know, he said in English, you pray to Hashem to help this man and to give him a fast cure. He doesn't know what to do. He just sits there, tears rolling down his eyes, until the man's son shows up. The man's son said, I'm the man's I'm this man's son. So the businessman tearfully explains to him what your father did. A simple little favor. And he ends up there, and I end up here. I don't know what to do. And the son says, remarkably, the son says, you know what? We believe there's reasons for things. And it's not your fault. You shouldn't feel guilty. My father did the right thing at the time. That was his decision because he wanted to do a favor. And Hashem has his reasons for running the world. And don't worry, it's a remarkable thing to say that. So the businessman said, I am so grateful. I need to do something for you. So this is what the man does. The businessman takes out his wallet, pulls out a business card. He hands it over to the son. He says, if you ever need anything, call the number on this card, and I'm there for you. For you or anyone in your family, if you ever need help, I'm a very wealthy man. I have a lot of connections, and I will help you. Don't hesitate. Call the number if you ever need help. So the man said, okay, thank you very much. Puts the card in his pocket. The businessman leaves. And he returns back to New York as a changed man. He's a different individual after living through that. And he has nightmares during the night. And it's very hard for him to get back to his routine. But the months start to pass. He lived through terrible things. Over time, it starts to go back to the routine. So the businessman is putting the whole story behind him. He's looking forward to his future life. And he almost forgot about giving that business card to the son. Until one day, the phone rings in his office. The man picks up the phone, and it's the son. The son says, I've saved that business card, and now I need you. My father needs a very serious operation. There's no doctors in Israel who can deal with it. But we heard there's a medical center in Boston. And the Israeli says, I don't know what Boston is. Where Boston? I'm not know too much about it. Can you help us? So the man said, tomorrow morning, you're going to have 2 tickets, 2 plane tickets. I'm sending you Federal Express 2 tickets to fly to New York. I want you to fly here. I'll make all the arrangements. We're going to go together to Boston, and we'll make sure you get the best medical care for your father, who's responsible for me being alive. The son says, but how can we do it? Our medical coverage doesn't cover for America. It only works for Israel. The man says, don't worry. Don't worry about the money. It's the last thing you have to worry about. I'm sending you the tickets, you're coming, and your father's going to be cared for. So, next morning, they get their tickets, they rush to the airport in Tel Aviv, they get the earliest plane that they can. They fly to New York City. Now listen to this. This is the most remarkable part of the story. The rich businessman meets them in New York. The businessman says, we have to go now. I made all the arrangements. They're waiting in the hospital in Boston. And the son says, yeah, but we're really tired. My father's in a wheelchair here. Can't we just relax? No, we got to go now. We got to make sure that your father gets the best care. So he convinces them to get the very next plane. They go from one end of the airport to the other end. They get on a plane, and they leave New York City for Boston. That day was September 11, 2001. And that businessman, his central office, where he sits every morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, was on the 102nd floor of the World Trade Center. Because they flew out away from New York that day, he didn't show up to work that day. And when he looked at the TV, and he saw what happened to his office, what happened to the whole building, as you know, collapsed on that day, he realized that he thought he was doing a favor for the man, for the Israeli man who saved his life that time in the pizza shop. Actually, the man in the pizza shop was the one who saved his life for the second time. That's the end of the story.
What happened?
Everybody asked that question. I don't know. I hope he was okay. That's an incredible story.